Hi, I'm Elynn Light, teen and parent empowerment coach, here today to talk about the very serious topic of addiction, suicide, and depression. As a parent, you may be aware that suicide for teens is at an all-time high, and that drugs are ever more available and being used in the high schools. There's early sexual experience and, of course, depression. So I'm here to talk about what can be done about this. I absolutely love the new book by, let me just show you, Lost Connections by Johann Hari. He really talks about the full scope of all the ways that we need to be connected. So you and I might be aware, yes, we need to be connected in family and community and society, but there's also other connections to nature, to meaningful work, to different aspects. I've been in the healing arts for over 30 years, and I'm here to tell you that medication is not the answer, usually. And the talk therapy can be helpful, but it is not usually the therapy that ends up creating really those quantum leaps and life changes. Sometimes talking can develop trust and to develop understanding, but typically what is going on that drives adults as well as teens into suicide is the feeling that they are alone and that nothing is going to change. This doesn't obviously come with the first thought, like maybe I'd rather be dead. There's usually a deeper pattern. And that deeper pattern can be understood best by someone who has walked through and made it through the other sides of some of these deeper feelings. In childhood, it's really unfortunate now to know that such a high percentage of our children are having to undergo sexual abuse, sexual trauma at such an early age by people that the parents are really unsuspecting. So very oftentimes the child is having to take this in stride and deal with an enormous amount of emotion and trauma that they are not equipped to deal with, and typically are not talking to their parents, either because their parents have told them to shut up, they don't believe them, or the abuser has told them that they'll harm them or kill them if they do talk about it. So we need to be watching our kids to see what's going on. When I was a little girl, I remember distinctively that I used to run downstairs in the cellar and play. And then I remember my knees and legs locking and shaking, and that I just couldn't go down there anymore. And my family laughed at me because they thought it was funny, and I was just kind of like, why can't I go downstairs? Because a lot of time when trauma happens to children, we even block it from our own minds because it's just too much to deal with. So, and then if a child is exposed to an angry, overpowering, controlling parent, then they have to stay invisible in order to survive in that climate so that they won't be harmed. And then we come along to school, where we want to fit in and have dates and be popular and be, chosen for teams and sports or debate or cheerleading. And there are so many opportunities for a young person to have a lot of emotion and a lot of trauma that they don't know how to deal with. Now, when it comes to teens in the teenage years, they are dealing with the job of separating from the parents, finding independence and self-identity. So by teen years, teens actually want advice from people other than their parents. So you might be the most skilled, fantastic person in listening and in loving and skillfully being present for your kids, but the kids are wanting to really separate from you, and it's not personal, it's their developmental stage. You may know this. So sometimes when we see our kids struggling, the best thing that we can do for them is get them outside help. I find that talk therapy can get a person so far, but it doesn't usually normally release the energies that are being carried in the trauma. So over the last 30 years, I've made it my business to heal myself and my clients by learning amazing tools that are mind-body tools. I actually love the EFT tapping tool because it can really release a lot off the nervous system and out of the body. But as a therapist, another tool that I use is dialoguing with what's going on inside the body, which can be done in person or fortunately by the phone or video computer session. I guide my clients into the sensations, and it is actually beautifully surprising how quickly I watch my clients release things like being abandoned from being adopted, trauma from being sexually abused, trauma from being physically abused, trauma from a parent being unavailable. And as we know, kids have a view like this, and parents have a more broad view. As we get older, we see the bigger picture. But the kid may have a belief or a perception based on how they are viewing the world from their perspective. The beautiful thing is, using mind-body tools that I have learned, I can help, and not only help, I can take clients through emotions, sensations, feelings, and beliefs, and change that inner world from a climate of feeling hopeless, helpless, and powerless, or really incredibly angry, defiant, frustrated, and rebellious. As those are the two options. When bad things happen to us, we can either turn it inwards, turn it in on ourselves, at which point we're going to be showing a lot of physical illness and pain, withdrawal, depression, destructive behaviors. Or we can go outwards, and these kids are typically in trouble with the law and, in your face, and they're acting the anger out externally. Fortunately, from growing up with a lot of anger in the house, I'm very comfortable with anger. It's like, yeah, you're angry. I get it. And a lot of us have very good reason to be angry. However, we don't want to continue to carry that around in our bodies, in our psyches, in our energy fields. So people talk about how much they can laugh and release during the sessions, and I realize we're having a rather heavy, one-sided conversation here, but when you release, it's so joyful. It's such a relief. It's such a burden off. I would love to introduce you to how this works. So if you yourself feel like you've got an inner heavy load that you're carrying, or if you have a kid that you're concerned about that looks like they're carrying more than they can handle, I would love to share the mind-body tools that I used to bring my clients to the other side of that, into a joyful, productive, happy lives. Please click my schedule if you'd like to contact me for a breakthrough session. It would be my delight to speak with you, to see where you are, what's going on, and where you'd like to be. It would be my heartfelt pleasure to to guide you, to teach you, and to escort you into your more joyful, healthy, and successful life. Elynn Light. Thank you. Many blessings.